Perry Drinkwater in Los Angeles.
Good evening. A nationwide protest taking many forms is building up against the conviction of Lieutenant William Calley for the My Lai massacre. CBS News has learned that the White House has bbeen bombarded with telegrams at the rate of 250 an hour since shortly after the guilty verdict. Meanwhile, at Fort Benning, Georgia, the court-martial jury which judged Calley's acts now is weighing his punishment. Bruce Morton reports.
The jury can give death or life or reconsider its verdict, convict of some lesser offense carrying a lesser penalty. Today, the pleas from defense lawyer George Latimer, a conventional call for sympathy. Lieutenant Calley was a good boy. I just cannot see someone like that hanging in a hangman's noose. Who taught him to kill, kill, kill? You've got to judge, but you don't have to have eyes of glass, hearts of stone. A few humanities ought to be worked in. There is a place for Lieutenant Calley to make something of his life. He can't do it from a graveyard. Then William Calley rose to face the court, his girlfriend Anne among the watchers. Calley had rehearsed earlier with a chaplain, but in court he almost broke, voice trembling, eyes shifting from jury to ceiling as he made his plea. I don't think it matters what kind of individual I am, and I'm not going to stand here and plead for my life or my freedom. I've never known a soldier, nor did I ever myself, ever wantonly kill a human being in my entire life. If I have committed a crime, the only crime I have committed is in judgment. Apparently, I valued my troops' lives more than the enemy. When my troops were getting massacred and mauled by an enemy I couldn't see, I couldn't feel, and I couldn't touch, that nobody in the military system ever described as anything other than communism. They didn't give it a race, they didn't give it a sex, they didn't give it an age, and they never let me believe it was just a philosophy in a man's mind. That was my enemy out there. And when it became between me and my enemy, I had to value the lives of my troops. That is the only crime I have committed. Yesterday, you stripped me of all my honor. Please, by your actions that you take here today, don't strip future soldiers of their honor. I beg of you. Calley stopped, and Prosecutor Aubrey Daniel rose to face the jurors. You did not strip him of his honor. What he did stripped him of his honor. You must arrive at a sentence which will show what the principle involved here is, that it is not honor. It can never be considered honor to kill unarmed men, women, and children. We know you will arrive at an appropriate sentence. That is all we ask. Daniel never asked for death. Outside, the crowd had ebbed and flowed all day, about 100 of them. And when William Calley left, unsentenced still, they let him know why they had come. The jury left by the back door. No crowd there. Bruce Morton, CBS News, Fort Benning, Georgia.
The jury's overnight recess came after an hour and a half of deliberation, and it will resume at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Calley's company commander at My Lai, Captain Ernest Medina, also has been charged in the case. At a news conference in Boston today, Medina commented on the Calley court-martial. Bob Schieffer reports.
Maintaining his own innocence, Medina said he did not expect the guilty verdict in the Calley case.
The verdict that was brought out by the jury was very harsh and very severe. I think we were all surprised by that. At the time that I heard the verdict over television at 4:30 yesterday afternoon, my reaction was maybe a little bit of bitterness. I think that we all as American citizens must share in the guilt of Lieutenant Calley. I think that every member in the United States Army and each member of the jury, as members of the United States Army, will also share in that verdict of guilty. Lieutenant Calley or myself did not create the war in Southeast Asia. I, as a captain in the United States Army, do not dictate doctrine or policy on what grounds that war is fought. We raise our children. They are drafted into the Army. They are sent over to fight in what their country believes for. We as citizens of the United States give the people in power that right to send these, or our boys or children, into that particular area. I think by this we all share as Americans, the verdict of guilty in Lieutenant Calley's trial. I don't feel that it's necessary to have a war crimes tribunal as we had during the Nuremberg trials. However, I feel that if we are going to try to pinpoint the guilt on a couple of individuals in an isolated incident and try to apply the same standards that we as a nation established in the Nuremberg trials, or in the case against a Japanese general, General Yamashita, that it might be necessary that if we are going to try to apply those standards to a few individuals that we take a very hard look at it. I wonder how many people in the country last night as American citizens, or people in the State Department, or the generals in the Army had a good night's sleep last night.
Medina's attorney, F. Lee Bailey, said the captain will leave the service if acquitted. He charged the Army is out to get Medina, even if he is found innocent. Bob Schieffer, CBS News, Boston.
The Cali conviction had a personal impact, of course, for many GIs serving in Viet Nam, and Bruce Dunning sampled the reaction.
Well, I feel that it's wrong in a sense, because they sent him out there to do a job. You know, he was sent out there by Medina to do a job for that particular purpose. And I don't understand why the Army would send somebody out there to do something like that and then turn around and prosecute him for it.
I think it was very unjust. The man was just doing his job, and that's what we're over here for, and it just seems very unfair that he'd have to get that kind of a penalty for doing what he thought was right.
Even if it was in a village of just people?
Well, just people. It was the enemy as far as he was concerned, and there's only one thing. He's been taught to kill, and that's just what he thought he was doing right.
I feel the conviction was just. You know, I can't see any man using those type of actions, you know, actually killing civilians like that, rounding them up together and giving the order, coming back again and demonstrating himself what he wanted done as far as murder.
In angry House speeches today, a half-dozen Southern congressmen challenged the conviction and appealed to President Nixon to intervene. The objection to the verdict also took other forms. The Illinois legislature considered a resolution urging the president to grant clemency, and the Alabama legislature will take up a similar measure tomorrow. The 5 members of the Athens, Georgia draft board said they are resigning because they can no longer, in good conscience, send young men into service. Radio stations in Wilmington, North Carolina and Riverhead, New York stopped broadcasting Army public service announcements. And the American Legion in Columbus, Georgia began a drive for a $100,000 appeal fund for Cali and a 10 million signature petition against the verdict. The possibility has arisen that the Army may charge one of its